our generations are becoming lost.
Mm-hmm.
We're so lost that we don't even know that we're lost. And that saddens me to be able to see this in so many people my age and younger, they don't.
It's true.
And if you tell them, they're going to look at you like you crazy.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
And you want to see, talk about people looking at you like you're crazy. All I have to do is open my mouth for about 30 minutes and, okay.
But that's because, like, what I've heard is true.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people look at people that tell the truth like they're crazy.
Oh, well, you know, the truth stands for itself,
Right.
whether they want to hear it or not. It's not going to diminish itself because it can stand on its own.
Mm. That's nice to hear.
Yeah.
That's true, though.
You know, you don't have to worry about, you know, oh, is this... Yeah, I will probably say something that's offensive for a reason.
Mm.
Okay? And in that reason, it's like, I have a problem with this sagging stuff. Okay? You know? And I have said to some young men, you know, why don't you cut the seat out of your pants and wear the skirt that you want to wear?
I mean, because if they knew where it originated at, then
But they do, because I've asked them. And most of the ones that I would talk to, they know where it originated. They know it originated in prison, okay? And, but that doesn't touch them because, you know, they're not identifying with the prison part. Sleepwalking in a minefield. Black people, the alarm is sounding for those who are sleepwalking in the mind fields. Not the minefields, but the mind fields. Those minefields created and maintained by those who practice white magic. The white magic, which is fatal for most black people because some of us are least likely to recognize it. The white magic is mind and image control, and we who are the most misinformed people by choice are in imminent danger of controlled annihilation. The New World Order is not new. Over 140 years ago, many of our ancestors were bought and sold as chattel property, caught black, sold black, to white slavers. Reparations begin in Africa as I reclaim my name. Reparations continue at home as I clean my own house of false leaders who must be held accountable on every level and vigorously scrutinized lest we are betrayed by photo ops and sound bites in this most dangerous of times. Playtime is over, black people. Black people must reclaim first our spiritual high ground and then our historical and cultural high ground if we're to survive as a people. If and when we must fight, let us make sure that we're fighting for our liberation, which begins with the practice of black magic. Black magic, when used, is to reclaim our brothers and sisters from the latest forms of slavery, whose chains are forged by voluntary ignorance. Voluntary ignorance, where many exhibit the most primitive behaviors by spending most of their time engaged in acquisition, eating, sleeping, and procreating. Voluntary ignorance, where blacks become enslaved and annihilated by drugs and AIDS. We don't cut, shoot, and kill each other fast enough. So now we're given the new disease-filled blankets. Remember smallpox? And some Native Americans? It's in the manual entitled, How Do We Rid Ourselves of the Black Problem? Miseducation was too slow. They become hostile and dangerous. A twofold plan was developed that was there all the time with a little help. Sex and drugs. More of them can be killed with sex. Read man-made disease, HIV, AIDS. They're going to have unprotected sex, and we'll let them sell a little bar dope. That'll kill them all. The formula? UPS plus D equals DN. Say it with me. UPS plus D equals DN. Black men will fall for this and we can catch them every time. Pussy and dope equals death. UPS plus D equals DN. UPS plus D equals DN. Unprotected sex plus dope equals dead Negroes sleepwalking in the minefield.
How y'all doing? My name is Sam. Samuel, however you want to put it, it's all good. I'm here. Thank you, Gran Gran, for having me.
Always.
You've been a major support in my life. You've been big with helping the youth, real big with helping people out come up and do great things. So, I just recently wrote this poem, maybe today, and it's called it's actually called "The Power of the Mind." And so, one of my greatest things I'd like to say is that it's your right to be powerful, but it's your choice to live in mediocrity. And so, it says, "The power of believing is not in trying to believe; it's in your knowing and acting it out." Oftentimes, we spend more time trying to believe. Yes, here's my issue with this. The Bible says, "Walk by faith and not by sight." Yet we walk on our own visions and never envision ourselves walking out on nothing and creating something out of nothing. It's called faith. Where there's emptiness, there's always room for reality. Not judging practicality, it's just that everything doesn't take physicality. That if you obtain through the mind that everything is possible, that is your world's mentality. Albert Einstein once said, the only people who believe thinking is easy are those who don't habitually engage in it. Because they think their thinking is so difficult, that those people will use anything to help improve the process. In other words, no creativity. Everything is fast food with less process. So let's digest. This is not Reader's Digest. I just want you to obtain this through your digestive system, that we are oblivious to our great minds, and that the thoughts that we have are actually that we possess are well powerful beyond measure. So we use what the world has and consider it a reality. And we create from it, and we act like we're supercilious to the world. The days of inferiority are no more. Fear is not an answer, and neither does it equate to my greatness. So let's tap into the mind of a great conspiracy. We've been treated as theories and hypotheses. Been treated like as we are based on limited evidence that God is real. Just beyond the universe, I converse with the God of the universe, God of heaven and earth, the same God who created the you and I verse. So to tear down all technicalities and fallacies, we are in the image of God. Through our relationship, we have his likeness. We are gods in the earth, the Bible states this. And we have the mind of Christ to consider that it is not robbery to be considered equal with God. The power of believing is not trying to believe. It's in your knowing and acting it out.
Over the years in poetry that you've been experiencing with poetry and writing, how has it changed from then to now?
I don't see a quote unquote change. I see, different genres. Okay, you've got some poets out there who write nothing but erotica. Okay, and then you have others that I call them the revolutionary poets. And they are ones that I tend to identify with more, because it's just like at the beginning of hip-hop, when they were really saying something, okay? And I don't see any drastic change because of the genres, because of the approach that like I said, so many take. And I'm not saying that in terms of erotica, if it's for an adult audience and what have you, fine, but there's more to it than that.
Yeah, I agree.
And you have to be careful about what you're selling. cultural bandits and their parades. Daycare and elementary school runways are filled with tomorrow's razor hoes, as the new fuel for society's processes are no longer redefined when black girls and women continue to be exploited, this time by, of all people, their mothers, and the death dance continues. Mothers too busily deluded by clown fashion themselves think it's cute to adorn doll baby in miniature attire, which includes hair pieces and jewelry that should be worn by older siblings or not at all. Large garish crosses dangle from tiny necks as 6-year-old Missy's face is covered with makeup as she sings at the church with Jesus power, unaware of the challenge to her innocence by a mother preparing her for pageantry successes not yet determined. Unable to assume the responsibility for transmission of the culture, many mothers submit to the first man appearing to give them some attention as they advertise their virtues, which are non-existent, and offer themselves upon an altar called lust, because love for them has never been defined. Small daughters, impressed by mama's false male popularity, watch and imitate her actions. And the new prostitutes march towards their goal of becoming a video dancer, and the cycle of razor hoe is completed by women who don't know how to love themselves and the beauty which begins within as they multiply, giving birth to new prostitutes for tomorrow's yet to be determined whoredom, as razor hoe becomes a new old enterprise. Young entertainers are rewarded for performances which denounce womanhood, as girls become too willing carrion for cultural vultures who, in their words, show them what they're working with, as they gleefully devour them, while hordes of wannabes stand on the sidelines. Breathless onlookers stare in disbelief as the prostitute parade continues, and razor hoe becomes more than a cultural phenomenon, as the new unconscious sell themselves, this time in a slavery of their own creation. Prostitutes today become the whores of tomorrow, and the blind continue to smile as they lead the blind into today's quicksand. And BET, MTV, and VH1 continue to be the new stroll for tomorrow's willing sex slaves as they advertise their loss of dignity. And rappers continue to sing and chant, "Show me what you're working with." And hot drops become one-way stops to degradation and cultural death as prostitutes evolve into razor hoes on a one-way street leading nowhere. It's bigger than what you and I look like. Yeah, it was useful. Willie Lynch was useful, in us seeing, this power and what it was supposed to do. But it's gone beyond Willie Lynch.
Right.
They don't care anything about, what color you are when it comes to having that power over you.
Mm.
They can't even feed us anymore to poor white people.
You say what? They can't feed us to poor white people?
No.
What you mean?
They can't feed us anymore to poor white people. Feeding us to poor white people is what, in my opinion, strengthened racism. But poor white people are catching holy hell. They don't need to eat us anymore.
Right.
They're busy trying to survive.
Mm.
So who will they feed us to next? They don't have to feed us to anybody. We're too busy eating up ourselves.
Mm.